First, we take you inside the Maricopa County Superior Court.
Ladies and gentlemen, the law requires the state to prove a defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
This is the defendant, Lamont Payne.
This means
Today he's facing an assault charge for biting a correctional officer on the ankle in 2016 while serving time in the county jail.
exercising that right.
His attorney is Vladimir Gajic, appointed by the Public Defender's Office. It's the first day of jury selection, evidenced by the packed courtroom. And from the beginning, Gajic seems to be ignoring his client.
I think that they should be wrong. Anyone who does not think we should have the presumption of innocence. With the record again, no one has raised their hands. Also, some may think that just because a
Man, my
person...
lawyer ain't gonna speak up.
Sir,
I've been giving him questions. He won't speak up.
sir, that's because it's not his turn to ask questions.
Man, you gonna sell me out. Later.
The appropriate time will happen at the appropriate time. If you continue to have outbursts, I'm going to have to remove you from the
Now it's
courtroom.
appropriate time. This, I keep telling you, he's a problem.
Deputy, please remove him.
That's
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to need a second to deal with this. Step outside and we'll talk in a few minutes, okay?
If we take another look, as Payne is rounding up his belongings, Gajic is completely caught off guard. While two deputies secure Payne, a shocked Gajic deals with his injury, which thankfully is only a bloody nose.
let me get my.
No, he doesn't get anything.
The potential jurors are excused, and Gajic and the judge discuss what happens next.
Counsel, based upon the defendant's actions, I don't think I can continue with the trial.
Since Payne attacked his own attorney, the judge assumes Gajic will remove himself from the case. But that's not what
Attorney
happens.
of record. So I think I'm going to have to remove him as attorney of record unless you think you can go forward.
I can go for it.
Huh?
I can go for it. And I'm not going to press any charges.
Later, Gajic did file assault charges against Payne, and although he offered to continue his services for Payne, he never got the chance. Gajic was removed from the case. As for Lamont Payne, he's serving his time in Lewis Prison in Arizona. We now take you to the Jefferson Circuit Court in Louisville, Kentucky.
And it's my right to speak what I need to speak on.
This is Bryce Rhodes, a man very familiar with the Louisville courts. He's been behind bars since he was charged with the murder of one man in 2016 and two teenage brothers a month later, fearing they would tell police of his involvement in the first crime. Since that time, Rhodes has been locked up awaiting trial, but moving forward has been challenging due to Rhodes' disruptive behavior in court and in jail. He's even gone so far as to threaten Judge Amber Wolf from behind a spit guard in 2016.
You can just bring him up right here. I think you know why. You know exactly why. Now, listen, stop talking. I'm going to keep talking because I don't want to have to see you back here for this.
What you think that?
So you're saying you're going to find out where I live at?
You guys found out here.
Okay. That was a threat against the court. I think that I'm asking the county attorney's office to take that into account and consider what to do with that.
After this incident, Rhodes was charged with terroristic threatening in the third degree and intimidating a participant in the legal process. 4 years later, March of 2020, he's at it again.
Even though you show favoritism to the Commonwealth, you deny every motion I've ever filed in this courtroom, I'm still gonna, it's my right to file a pro se motion, and it's my right to speak what I need to speak on.
After Judge Charles Cunningham denies his motion to dismiss the murder charges, he questions the judge's motives.
I don't know if I got some type of sexual relationship going on, or what y'all got going on, but I'm definitely gonna speak my mind.
Detective Detelli and I have a sexual relationship.
Now I'm talking about you, prosecutor over, sir.
All right,
You
well-
denied all my motions. Every motion I filed, you did deny it.
I'm pretty sure I've denied the vast majority of pro se motions that have ever
Are
been
you some
filed.
type of racist? Or y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on? Which one is it?
Or are you just wrong in everything that you've made a motion for?
Are you a
It could be
secret
that.
Ku Klux Klan member?
No, sir, I'm
Is that
not.
what you really are? Are you a
It could be
secret
that.
Ku Klux Klan member?
Rhodes' attorney has clearly seen this before.
I'm not.
But like I said, higher courts, they'll deal with it when time comes necessary.
That's exactly right.
Judge Cunningham takes it all in stride because Rhodes remains behind bars and faces life in prison if convicted of the crimes. As of this taping, Rhodes' cases are still awaiting trial. We're inside the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice in Detroit, Michigan. 25-year-old Jasmine Gordon and her 34-year-old boyfriend, Clifford Thomas, are being sentenced today for the death of Gordon's 3-year-old daughter, Jamila Smith. Thomas, who is not Jamila's father, was babysitting the girl when he claims she hit her head and stopped breathing. But authorities ruled her death a homicide, indicating the child died of multiple blunt force trauma injuries. Both Gordon and Thomas were found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, among other charges. Today, Gordon and Thomas appear in court together, so family members won't have to deliver impact statements twice.
She made a bad choice, a real bad choice, and to let this stranger babysit her kids, because that man was a total stranger to them kids.
Sitting just off camera in the gallery is the dead child's father, Dwayne Smith. There's only a few feet and not much else between Smith and the man convicted of killing his daughter. When he's asked to deliver an impact statement, he delivers. If we take another look, you can see Smith enter the frame here and clearly punch Thomas in the head. Amidst the chaos, Gordon has an emotional moment of her own. And has to be comforted by her attorney. It takes several sheriff's deputies to finally restore order. When the hearing resumes, Judge Margaret Van Houten issues a warning.
There will be no outbursts in the courtroom. If there are any, you'll be removed from the courtroom.
She sentences Thomas to 57 months to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter and 1 to 2 years for resisting arrest. After Thomas is taken away, a tearful Gordon makes a plea to the judge.
To be placed in jail right now after kissing my daughter for the last time is something I would wish I said to myself. I was not going to deal with it. I was trying to forgive anybody, never.
The tears seem to have no impact on Judge Van Houten. She sentences Gordon to 7 to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter and another 14 to 25 years for first-degree child abuse. As for Dwayne Smith, Judge Van Houten decides not to hold the grieving father in contempt of court for his outburst. We're in the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice in Detroit, Michigan. The sentencing of 25-year-old Amanda Casal.
There's a lot of things that you can do, and your life doesn't have to be over because of a poor choice. You just have to accept responsibility for it and find a way to make something positive out of a very negative situation.
Casal has been found guilty of driving under the influence, causing a head-on collision that killed 31-year-old Jerome Zerker and severely injured his fiancée, 31-year-old Brittany Johnson. The couple have 5 children together. Prior to sentencing, the court will hear a powerful impact statement from the victim's children, read by his sister, Doreen Zerker.
Amanda, look what you did to my life. You ruined everything I had, like my dad's life.
Amanda seems devastated by Doreen's words. But Judge Kiana Lillard apparently hears some snickering from Casal's family sitting in the gallery.
You can go too. Whoever can sit here at a tragic moment like this and laugh and smile when somebody has lost a family member, this is a court of law. You cannot come down to the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice and act any way you want to act.
That's the defendant's mother, Donna Casal.
Because if you don't know how to act, you can go to jail. Ma'am, you are being taken into custody for criminal contempt. Your disruptive and disrespectful behavior disrupted today's proceedings, and you, ma'am, are going to the Wayne County Jail for 93 days for direct criminal contempt. Anybody else want to go? Try it.
You can't come to court acting a fool. I know people watch a lot of shows
on TV where you see different things happening, but this is real.
We're back in Detroit, Michigan, and this woman, Donna Casal, has just disrupted the court during the sentencing of her daughter, Amanda, for a deadly DUI.
Ma'am, you are being taken into custody for criminal contempt. Your disruptive and disrespectful behavior disrupted today's proceedings, and you, ma'am, are going to the Wayne County Jail for 93 days for direct criminal contempt. Anybody else want to go? Try it.
As Casal is led to the county jail, Judge Lillard offers a stern reminder about etiquette in the courtroom.
These are very serious matters, and I understand you all are upset because your loved one is going to prison, but guess what? She's going to prison for the choices that she made.
After orders restored, Amanda Casal is sentenced.
It'll be the sentence of this court that you will serve 3 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. If there's nothing further, that concludes this matter.
Casal only serves 3 years and is then paroled in February 2020. As for Amanda's mother, Donna, she spends the night in jail and appears before Judge Lillard the next morning. Donna seems to have learned a serious lesson from just one night behind bars.
Ms. Cox, is there something you'd like to say?
Yes, I deeply apologize for what I did. I was under a lot of stress, and I deeply apologize for what I did in your court. I just needed to get out, and it's been very hard for me this year, and I know for the other family, and I'm so sorry for what I did, and I know it was wrong, and I apologize.
Things have to be conducted in decency and order.
I apologize.
You can't come to court acting a fool. I know people watch a lot of shows on TV where you see different things happening in make-believe courtrooms that give people a skewed sense of reality, but this is real life here, and we just can't have people behaving like that. It can't be tolerated. So I will modify your sentence for direct criminal contempt from 93 days to 1 day with credit for time served, and you should be released today.
God bless you. Thank you. And I apologize very solely and for the other family.
Donna serves 1 day.
Thank you.
And is released.
You're welcome.
We're inside the 36th District Court in Detroit, Michigan, for the arraignment hearing of 23-year-old Jacob Barnes, who appears via video, and 16-year-old Jeremy Lee, who's being tried as an adult.
Mr. Barnes and Mr. Lee are both charged with count 1, homicide, felony murder.
Barnes and Lee are accused of murdering Amanda Benton, a 29-year-old mother of 4 boys who was pregnant with her 5th child, a girl. A warning here. The description of the crimes you're about to hear is graphic and may be disturbing to some viewers.
They beat her in the face so bad, they snapped my daughter's neck. They were driving around with her in the trunk of the car, and I pray to God that my daughter was already gone before they set her afire.
The unspeakable crime sent shockwaves throughout the entire Detroit area. It's a disturbing case, and the hearing is filled with tension. When it concludes, a relative of Jeremy Lee exchanges words with a member of Amanda Benton's family outside the courthouse, and tensions boil over.
Come on.
Oh, what? You're going for woman too, dude? You bad?
What?
Huh?
Hey! Police! Police! Uncle Charlie! He just started hitting my neck for no reason! He just charged him! Touch his part! I want to touch his part! He just assaulted him! I want to touch his part! Go ahead!
The man who stepped in and started swinging is Benton's uncle.
You bad?
What?
Huh?
But police quickly arrived to separate the men and prevent things from escalating.
Kill him. No, you cannot report that over here. No, you come on. You can't report it.
Leaving several women, including Benton's family member and Jeremy Lee's mother, to argue over who's responsible for the fracas.
You punched him in the face. You were walking out and pushed him. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. You did not push him.
Cops take the 2 men into custody, and things eventually settle. But for Amanda Benton's mother, the tragic loss of her daughter and unborn granddaughter is still too much to bear.
The Lord says to forgive. I'm sorry. A brutal murder like that, killing a little innocent baby like that, I would, to my dying day, will never forgive.
At separate trials, Jacob Barnes is convicted and sentenced to life without parole. Jeremy Lee receives a sentence of 25 to 60 years after pleading guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree murder.
I'll never get to see my son be married and have a family. You not only robbed him and us of that, you also robbed yourself.
Next, we go to Kent County Circuit Court in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where 23-year-old Vicente Rodriguez Ortiz is convicted of first and second-degree murder in the deaths of Andrew Hawkins and Lori Lunderberg. The two crimes were unrelated.
Lori Lunderberg's death has left me incapable of focusing on daily tasks.
But before he learns his fate, he must listen to family members deliver victim impact statements to the court.
I'll never get to see my son be married and have a family.
This is Javaika Hawkins, mother of 17-year-old Andre Hawkins, who was in high school when he was gunned down by Rodriguez Ortiz.
And I couldn't see him walk across the stage and get his high school diploma. It was his senior year and life was going good for us. He was in love and he had his friends and his life was full. And you not only robbed him and us of that, you also robbed yourself.
Rodriguez Ortiz appears slightly moved by what Javaika has to say, but the grieving mother is not finished.
In order to get through this process, I had to forgive you, and I forgive you from the bottom of my heart. I pray for you because as a mother, you're a child to me, and in my heart, I have no anger or bitterness towards you. As a mom, I just want to hug you because I know that there's something that's not connected that made you feel so angry toward a person that you didn't know.
It turns out forgiveness is what really gets through to him.
I just want to say I'm sorry, Miss Hawkins.
He remains in prison serving a life sentence and is not eligible for parole. Joining us now is the mother of Andre Hawkins, Miss Javaika Hawkins. Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. That is really hard to watch. How difficult was it for you to be standing in court that close to him?
I think I just looked at him as a kid, so I didn't feel scared or threatened or angry or anything.
When you walked in the courtroom that day, did you know you were going to forgive him?
I had forgiven him basically from day one. I just decided that I was going to use all my energy to remember my son. You know, I see people in court all the time just seem like they're so happy and so relieved that this person is going to die in prison. But for me, it just was not the case. And I forgive you from the bottom of my heart. I pray for you because as a mother, you're a child to me. When I got up there, I had spent all that time writing this statement, and I literally did not read any of it off the paper. I just spoke from my heart.
Do you think your son would support the decision you made here to forgive?
I don't know. He always told me I was too soft-hearted and nice. But I think that him looking down, he is proud of me. He was in love and he had his friends and his life was full. And, you know, I represented my love for him. So I'm sure he's okay with it.
Well, your son sounds like he was a terrific young man, and you are truly an inspiration to many. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the program. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for asking me.
I'm Dan Abrams. Thanks for watching. Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Abrams, and this is Court Cam.
Call the buzzer. Call him.
First up, we're in the 5th District Court in Cedar City, Utah, for the sentencing of Tristan Lamoureux. Lamoureux has just pled guilty to killing his wife, Misty, following an argument in their apartment. According to news reports, she was shot 5 times in the head. When police arrived, they found Misty's body in the bathroom and Lamoureux fleeing the scene. Now in court, Lamoureux sits surrounded by 4 sheriff's deputies who closely watch over him. Judge G. Michael Westfall calls Misty's brother, Jason Wilson, to come up to the front of the courtroom and deliver an impact statement. As he approaches the podium, Wilson shoots an intimidating stare in the direction of the defendant, but Lamoureux seems unbothered as he casually rocks back and forth in his chair. After speaking for a bit, Wilson breaks from his emotional testimony, turns his full attention to Lamoureux. Since the words don't appear to have any effect on Lamoureux, Wilson tries a different approach. Sheriff's deputies step up as Wilson begins speaking directly to the man who killed his sister. Wilson lunges at Lamoureux, but his lawyer pushes Wilson back against the barrier. Lamoureux stands up as if he's ready to rumble, but a deputy slams him to the ground and away from the melee. Chairs are left spinning as deputies drag Wilson to the floor and restrain him. With the courtroom engulfed in chaos, these inmates taking in the scene seem completely unfazed. Moments later, Wilson's cuffed by the deputies. He apologizes for his outburst, and the judge orders him removed. The deputies put the courtroom back in order, and Lamoureux returns to rocking in his chair. According to local authorities, Jason Wilson was not charged for the incident. As for Tristan Lamoureux, he's eventually sentenced to 15 years to life in prison for first-degree murder.
I screwed up. I relapsed. I was clean for 10 years.
This is somewhat more serious than the normal case in that you were introducing contraband into a prison setting.
Next, we go to Rice County, Minnesota, and the sentencing of Melissa Ray Gillette. The defendant admits that while visiting her boyfriend Jason Nyberg at the Minnesota Correctional Facility, she slipped him 2 meth-filled capsules hidden in her back pocket. When guards went to Nyberg's cell the next day, he was dead. In addition to the drug charge, the mother of 4 now looking at murder in the 3rd degree. She pled guilty to the murder charge and threw herself at the mercy of the court in hopes of receiving a light sentence.
I feel guilty for what happened to him. He was my best friend. I'm not a cold-hearted killer. I didn't plan to murder him. I didn't plan on going into the prison and then having him die. I made a mistake.
Both the defense and prosecuting attorney John Fossum called Nyberg's death an accident and recommended she receive the minimum sentence.
The guidelines for that offense with no criminal history score are 74 to 103 months.
Gillette seems to be remorseful, but it's up to Judge Thomas Newville to make the final decision.
You don't have to have intent to kill in order to be guilty of this crime.
The court sincerely hopes that you take advantage of whatever chemical dependency programming is available to you in the prison setting.
The judge goes beyond the minimum, sentencing Gillette to 86 months, or roughly 7 years, in a Minnesota correctional facility. Now to Grand Rapids, Michigan, where 17-year-old Savon Schmuss is awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty to an unthinkable crime. The murder of his half-sister, 18-year-old McKenna Hilton. A year earlier, with seemingly no motive, Schmuss strangled McKenna at their home. Afterward, he dumped her body in a wooded area nearby. The death of Hilton, a bright, well-known, recent high school graduate, shook this small-town community. McKenna was Stacy Hilton's only child, and the mom delivers a tearful impact statement to the court.
My daughter, McKenna, I want to say I love you, and I always will love you. And I'm so sorry that I wasn't there that day to protect you.
As she continues, Hilton turns her attention toward the teen who she had accepted into her own family, and her tone drastically changes.
Savon, I hate you. I will never forgive you. And I hope that when you go to prison, you get exactly what you deserve. I hope that when you come out of prison, it's not on your 2 feet. I hope it's in a body bag.
Hilton's strongly worded statement draws little reaction from Schmuss. The distraught mother then addresses the judge and reiterates how Schmuss viciously used his own 2 hands to end her daughter's life.
What he did was so heinous, it was premeditated, it was so hateful, so evil. He doesn't deserve a second chance. McKenna doesn't get one, we don't get one. He doesn't deserve one.
Afterwards, Schmuss passes on making a statement, leaving the judge to deliver some final harsh words along with his sentence.
As a judge, I have imposed over 1,000 sentences. After dealing with several murders and sexual assaults on children, this is the most horrific crime the court has handled. Under the sentencing agreement, the court has discretion to set a minimum sentence between 30 and 40 years. Therefore, the court shall impose a minimum sentence of 40 years and a maximum sentence of 100 years for Michigan Department of Corrections.
The 40 to 100-year sentence means Von Schmuss will not be eligible for parole until he's 57 years old.
Okay, is everybody ready to listen to me?
Next, we go to a child custody hearing in Las Vegas, Nevada. The plaintiff is Shelby Bachman, and the defendant, Jonathan King. The couple are arguing over visitation rights for their 2-year-old son, Joseph. The issue is King's unpredictable work schedule. The attorneys are Don Prokopius, and for the defense, Chancey Kramer.
Because my client is a UPS driver, his schedule, though, is not a set schedule. It varies. So he has to keep her notified of when his schedule is changing so that she's aware of pickup. She has told him now if he's more than half an hour late, he forfeits his entire weekend and can't see the kid.
Has Joseph gone weekends that he would have expected to see his father without seeing his father?
He's not missed one weekend. Not one.
The threat was made.
Not
I didn't
one.
ask you if the threat was made. I asked if it happened. You led me to believe that it was happening.
No.
My client has worked with him at times that it was till Saturday morning that he picked up.
There is a problem here.
After hearing from both sides, Judge Sandra Pomerantz points to the lack of cooperation between the parents.
What I see here is parties not being creative. But these two need to be adult enough to say, okay, this happened, where do we go from here?
But, Your Honor, and I agree with you. And so what she's done is on these times where she's worked with him, but then I think it was within the last 2 weekends.
I thought you said you agreed with me.
I do agree with you.
Okay, so listen to me. You're going to be done with this case when this case is over and these parties are divorced. They'll never be done with this case. Okay? So rather than complaining to me, it's a discussion with Mr. Prokopius being creative.
It appears the judge has struck a nerve with the defense.
My client has come up with all kinds of solutions, Your Honor, and it comes down to what Mom wants is what Mom is going to demand.
Okay, I don't buy that.
Well, Your Honor, that's how it is.
What I'm telling you is, have you discussed this issue with Mr. Prokopius?
Yes, I have in the hallway.
Okay. And has it been a matter of making demands or saying, what are we going to do?
No, it's a matter of calling my client.
Things begin to get personal, and the judge has a few words for Kramer.
I do have experience with you using inappropriate language.
And you know that I would admit it if I had done it. And if I was going to do it, I would have done it to her face.
You know what? You want to be a sailor, fine. Go be a sailor in your private life. But don't be a sailor in my court or in my cases.
I didn't.
Again, I don't judge people with sailor language because I use a little sailor language, but only in my private life, not in my courtroom, not to a litigant, not to an attorney. I don't do that because that's not professional. Ma'am, I warn you, one of these days, the State Bar is going to catch up to that. Because if you read the rules, there is an ethical rule about fairness to opposing counsel.
I know that there are also rules about treating people equally without regard to race, ethnicity, or gender. I find it highly objectionable that anyone complains about my language because I know all kinds of male attorneys who have no problem picking up the phone and screaming cuss words at me. So if I am outside there where First Amendment rights are in full effect, I will say what I choose to say when I choose to say, and that is my right in this country.
Are you done?
But after a few minutes of civility, the counselor starts up again.
We've spent, 5-10 minutes talking about nothing that is relevant to this case because I, as a female attorney, am being chastised over language that men feel free to use every single day, and they do.
You are giving me a headache because you're yelling, and I don't like having
being attacked, Your Honor.
No, you're not. Sit down, counsel. I'm done hearing from you.
Unsatisfied with the parties' solutions, the judge orders an evidentiary hearing, which means the parents will submit evidence against each other and the judge will make a ruling. In a child custody case, it can get ugly.
Your lawyers are going to be painting a picture for me in court. And it's not going to be a great picture of either one of you about the other.
Even after the judge makes her decision, the defense tries one last argument.
Your Honor, I have nothing more to say, and I want to hear from either one of you. I'm going to set the trial.
I understand that.
So sit down.
The couple's evidentiary hearing is postponed multiple times and has yet to be heard. Next, we're in Cincinnati, Ohio, for the sentencing hearing of 35-year-old Michelle Lake. She's charged with 1 count of vehicular assault and 1 count of aggravated vehicular assault for crossing the center line and causing an accident that severely injured 2 people in an oncoming car. The driver of that other vehicle was Jody Cox.
I still have issues. I still have pain. I still can't walk right. I still have emotional issues. I still see that constantly. And it's affected me a great deal.
I'm so sorry.
A great deal.
I'm so very sorry.
Investigators determined Lake had multiple illegal drugs in her system at the time of the accident, including cocaine, fentanyl, and methadone. The prosecution seeking the maximum allowable sentence of 10 years in prison. And there's a reason why.
She's already been to prison twice. She had another crash that was frighteningly similar to this when she killed a person and only did 2 years.
12 years earlier, Lake was driving under the influence of alcohol and marijuana when she was involved in another accident that killed a passenger in her car. Her license was suspended and never reinstated. When given the chance to speak, Lake acknowledges her long history of substance abuse.
These demons haunt me every day, and the night before the accident, these demons took advantage of the weak state of mind I was in. The decisions that followed will haunt me and the victim's family and my family forever. I'm so very sorry for what happened. I wish so badly I could take that day back.
Before handing down a sentence, Judge Patrick Dinkelacker said he recognized Lake's remorse, but calls her a danger to the community. He agrees with the prosecution and hands down the maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Michelle Lake is overtaken by emotion before being led out of the courtroom as her husband cries out from the gallery.
Love you, man.
In addition to her 10-year prison sentence, her driver's license is suspended for life. Most attorneys will tell you it's a pretty smart idea to stay on the judge's good side when arguing a client's case. What's not a good idea is to accuse said judge of serious judicial misconduct.
And you know there was jury tampering Wednesday. You saw it yourself.
The man dropping that bombshell is Kentucky Commonwealth attorney Larry Rogers. And on the receiving end is Judge Vernon Minyard, and he's not receiving it well.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Rogers. I've never tampered with a damn jury in my life, and don't you ever accuse me of that. Do you understand me?
I heard you, Your Honor.
You better understand me.
See the
Hey,
letter?
don't talk. You better understand me.
Your Honor, there is an investigation. I will let you know.
Well, you investigate me all you want. I'm not scared of anything, because I have never done anything wrong.
Rogers is actually referring to another case he and the judge are involved in, which includes allegations of jury tampering and corruption in Russell County.
You just said if you become a witness, you have to recuse yourself in this matter.
I don't know what I'd be a witness for. All I did was, there were some jurors that had to be out.
I'll
yell all I want. This is my court, and I'll do what I want. Do you understand me?
But I am going...
Go sit down. I don't want to hear anything else from you.
Turns out the allegations have no merit, and Rogers himself would later be accused of prosecutorial misconduct in several cases, though those claims would also be dismissed. We now head over to Saginaw County Circuit Court in Saginaw, Michigan, for the sentencing of Ralph Butler. Butler was convicted of second-degree murder in the grisly death of his neighbor and friend, 57-year-old Andrew Cannon. Cannon's corpse was found in a field with over 50 stab wounds, a knife, bloody clothes, and several of Cannon's fingers, which were cut off. were found in the trash bin of a local shop about a mile from the body.
First of all, Your Honor, I have a question. Can I ask him a question? I can. Well, really, I want to know why.
It's been 19 months since the horrific incident, so the pain is still fresh for Cannon's friends and family who packed the courtroom. Before handing down his sentence, Judge Darnell Jackson, who's just off camera, allows Cannon's sisters to address Butler, and they have something to say. First up, Bertha Cannon.
Your Honor, I'm deeply hurt. I speak for my family. We would like to see Raph at least have 52 years or more for the stabbing of Andrew Cannon, and to stand there and act like, I mean, no motion, no nothing. He shows nothing. Nothing. Me and my family make no mistake. We're hurt. Deeply hurt. And those 97% of the people in here is Andrew's family. Andrew Cannon. We're not here, for a show. We're here to say, we got the right person who done this. I don't know if somebody else would, but in my heart, you're the right person. You done this. I wish you life. More than anything, I'm done.
While Butler may receive a life sentence, in the state of Michigan, a second-degree murder conviction still leaves open the possibility of parole. Something that Cannon's other sister, Karen Cannon Mims, finds completely unacceptable.
My brother didn't deserve to go down like this. My mother raised a man. He never killed nobody, and he didn't deserve to get killed. And they always say you reap what you sow. And I'm praying to God that you see for every stab wound my brother received, he get 10 plus. For every finger he cut off my brother, he get 20 plus. I want to see him get life without parole. Second degree murder do not work for me. I'm not happy with second degree. People like you are sick. You should have probably got help. Why did you do that to my brother? He can look like he don't know what he's done. He don't want to admit it, but we know it. You got him, so keep him. Don't let him out.
Despite the passionate pleas from Andrew Cannon's sisters, Ralph Butler is spared a life sentence. Instead, the 51-year-old receives 66 years behind bars. That's all for this edition of Court Cam. I'm Dan Abrams. Thanks for watching.